Hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of the Previously Anxious podcast. Today is a very special episode because we're finally making an episode about our name and anxiety and why we're called Previously Anxious.
Right.
Yeah, this is a long time coming.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. Honestly, it's not like we were really trying to avoid the topic. I think it was just a matter of waiting until it felt more organic and natural to really get into a conversation about it. But yeah, anxiety.
Some might say that they would have made their first episode like this,
Right.
but we're different.
We're a little different.
We like to go against the grain.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that. But yeah,
We like to go against the grain. And we had to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a loaded topic, right? It's such a loaded topic. It's so much. I feel but I guess maybe we'll start with its origins,
Yeah, childhood. I don't know if I would say, well, actually, I would say that. I think we were pretty anxious kids.
Yeah, for sure.
In different ways.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I think that, looking back, anxiety isn't something new.
Right.
Versus when I feel like I had my first anxiety attack, it was what is this thing? What's happening to me?
When did you have your first anxiety attack?
My first anxiety attack was my first year of college. January of second semester of my first year. So January 2019.
Yeah.
For sure. And did I say 2019? Yeah, January 2019. I feel like that was the first anxiety attack. But if you want to take it all the way backwards to elementary school, I feel like I was a very anxious kid in the sense of I don't know, I used to just call it perfectionism.
Yeah.
But it's if certain things didn't go my way, and not my way of I need to have this and that, but I've planned out my day.
Yeah.
Every second is accounted for.
Right.
And if something happens that I don't have control over, or that I did not plan for,
right. Yeah.
It was I'm a mess. I'm freaking out all the time. And even I would say I had really bad testing anxiety growing up too.
You definitely did that.
Yeah, but not when I got older, not at all. But in elementary and middle school, I had such bad testing anxiety.
Yeah.
It was it would be a test and I would have to leave out the room and pray or text mom and be I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I feel thinking about origins and things. Thinking of origins and things of that nature. I definitely feel we were predisposed to fear at an early age. I think we were raised in, honestly, I won't just say religious because I don't think that that's necessarily the foundation for, the development. But I feel really just raised in a house where our parents were so overly concerned with us becoming good people. Do you know what I mean? That word even being thrown out, being, smart, being labels, I would say. And
it's just pressure in general.
But pressure, but it's also pressure to fit, you know what I mean? Some type of standard. I feel this is kind of not a reach, but a little bit shifting gears, but it did make me realize that when I raise my kids, if I do have kids, if that's what I want, that I don't want to use labels. You know what I mean? I don't want that it to be oh, I want you to be the best in your class or the smartest person in the room or, you know what I mean? Just the prettiest person in the room. It's just even you, the words that you use really matter.
Yeah.
And also those are things that kids should not be concerned with. No one should be concerned with it, but I feel it definitely shouldn't be in kids' minds at the ripe age of 5 years old, trying to outdo your classmates. But fear, I think there was a looming fear for me, but mine wasn't it wasn't debilitating.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. Childhood, the fear that I had was just more of don't talk to strangers because you might get kidnapped. Or don't spend a night at this person's house because someone might kill you in the basement.
And that's what I feel was different for me because I know you and our older sister, it's always fear of situations.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was debilitating fear, but not involving anyone else.
It's just you.
It was just me.
Yeah.
Not you know, like something like how I was saying, like not going my way, something that like I'm planning things and like something in my plan doesn't work and now, like I'm tweaking.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of more like that. It wasn't necessarily a fear of like, I'm scared of people or like scared of situations. It was like, I'm scared that something's not going to go according to how I have foreseen it.
Right.
Kind of something like that. And I think that was also pressure of like, everything needs to work out. Like everything needs to, like this has to go perfectly this way or like, just F it all. Like,
And where do you think that came from?
I don't know. I think it was just like, I think that we, like what you said, we had the same experiences, but it like manifested differently.
In different ways.
Because I never felt like I needed to like be a label per se, but more so just like things. There's like, okay, I can't control anything on the outside of me because I'm being controlled by other people. So it's like, I can control, this is what I can't control. I have to use this mechanical pencil today.
Right.
I have to, like, I was, even to that point, like, I remember in middle school, there's like, this is my favorite pencil. When I take a test, it has to be this red pencil.
Right.
When I do such, it has to be da-da-da.
Like, to like regain control.
Order. I think that it was like a mindset of like, this needs to be ordered. This needs to be kind of like that versus like, oh, I'm scared of like, people
like external.
You know, kind of like that.
Yeah. I think that's very interesting. I definitely feel like, oddly enough, so I've literally been trying to button this for the past 5 minutes. I should give up. I won't. But yeah, no, oddly enough, I do think like growing up, I had a little bit more of a, like, I guess I don't want to, like identity. I feel like, so I kind of had like, whether it was like my own beliefs or like, you know, parents like projecting or pushing that on to us. But I feel like that's why I wasn't as concerned with what I was doing. It was definitely stranger danger. Yeah. It was like, oh, I know who I am. I'm this, I'm that. Like, you know, like it was all those things. But the outside could make or break me. It was always, for me, it was always this looming fear, even going into middle school, that someone on the outside was going to come into my life and ruin my plans. And it's crazy because I feel like that was being compared to like certain people in our family, ones that may or may not have like succeeded. It was always that talk of like, well, if you ever go down this road, you'll end up like this person. You know what I mean? Or if you go down this road, you'll end up like this person. So I remember being like 16 and turning 17 and feeling like I beat the curse. Like I did not become 16 and pregnant. You know what I mean? Like I remember hitting those ages where like someone told me I was going to be this at this age if I had to follow this path. And then I'm like holding my breath until I get there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like I didn't become what everybody else has placed on me. And I think it's very, well, no route is better, but I do feel like in the sense of like the way that I allowed everyone to place things, like to mold me. Yeah. I was so focused on the outside, I didn't think about the inside. So I spent all that time fearing everything else. Yeah. And then I finally got to a point in adulthood where I was the person that needs to be. Like now I'm afraid of my own self. You know what I mean? I feel like the roles kind of like switched.
And you know, maybe it was similar like that for me because I feel like the older I got, that was when social anxiety kicked in. And that was when I felt so uncomfortable around large groups of people, even like small groups of people. Right. I felt so much solace just in myself. And I'm like, I don't want to be around other people.
Interesting.
You know, kind of in that way. I wouldn't necessarily say, I mean, I do think social anxiety is low-key like being scared of people. Yeah. But not in the sense of like they're going to hurt me. It's just constantly like, there's like a fear around having conversations.
Like they're going to create an interaction that's going to be uncomfortable for me or something.
But not even they're going to create. It's just that I don't know what this interaction is going to be like. And it could be something could happen, which something would always happen because of the low self-esteem. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that was so awkward. Or like, oh, why did I say that? Yeah, yeah. And I think like, obviously, well, like if we move chronologically from childhood, I feel like in high school, anxiety was like, there was no presence. Yeah. There was no thought of like that type of thing. It really wasn't until like, obviously you leave everything behind and go to college, which I feel like some people can do. But I realized for myself, even since being in therapy, I'm not someone who can work well with change without like thoroughly sitting with someone and being able to constantly talk about what I'm facing.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so happy that I have my therapist.
Right. Like each step of the way.
Each step of the way, because I feel like for me, I am just like so strong in like, I hate to say it because when people used to say this, I would like roll my eyes. When people are like, oh, I'm a creature of habit. I'm like, yeah, you're lame. You're boring. Like, you just want to do the same thing all the time. I am a creature of habit. I don't have to do the same thing every day, but like I cling to environments, even if they're not good for me. And I'm placing me in a new environment creates the amount of stress of like a wild animal and getting hunted in the jungle. You know what I'm saying? Leaving that environment, I am now I'm in this new place, and instead of excitement, I'm like in the corner, like, oh my God.
Like terrified,
like I'm about to feeling like I'm going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And that's just something I had to learn about myself that I'm definitely growing through. But I would say when the whole anxiety debacle that I went through for like a good 5 or 6 years, which we'll, I guess, discuss at length in this episode, started by going to college, y'all. I went to college and literally had like mental breakdown type vibe. Literally couldn't handle it.
Which was so interesting because you've always were like the one growing up that wanted to go the farthest away.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to go so far away. I was like, I'm going to be either on the other side of the country or like the other side of the world. Like, I'm getting out of here. And then it was like, I have left, and now it's like, I feel so uncomfortable around people. Like, social anxiety is at an all-time high. I don't want to speak to these people. I don't want to be around people.
Right.
And then on top of that, it was to the point where I'm waking up because I'm having anxiety attacks in my sleep. Like,
did you think like a part of something that contributed to that was going to a school that you didn't want to go to?
I think all of it was a part of it because then like it was also like relinquishing control. I think that my anxiety was worsened, of course, because of the tight grip that I felt like I had to have on everything. Like, I think the social anxiety got worse because I'm like, these social interactions aren't going the way that I want them to, or like that I feel like I planned them to. Because knowing me, like I've let go of it now, but I was the type of person, like before I even speak to someone, I'm planning all of our conversations. Like if they say this, then like my response will be this type thing. And if it's not going that way, I'm like, what's happening? You know, not a go with the flow type person, a planner by heart. And so I think that it was like, I didn't pick this place, or like I did pick this place, but like I didn't
not
really go. You know,
you didn't even want to go to college.
No, I literally didn't. And that was, I feel like I should have had time to think that over. If you guys don't know, like I graduated high school at 16. That was like the last thing that I needed to be thinking. Well, I should have been thinking about it, but my 16-year-old brain was not focused on like, pick the college that you're going to be there for 4 years. So like you need to pick the right one. I was like, like, you know, whatever, I guess I'll go to whichever one people want me to go to. You know, and it's like, sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. But
no, talk your stuff.
It was like going through that. And then after not having a good time, like leaving that school, going to a different school and still having a bad time. I think it was just like my mental at that point, because I'm thinking like, maybe I need to just return to my environment. I returned to my home state, but it was still like, so bad because something was now unlocked. And what was unlocked was my mind now knowing that like I don't have control over anything. And that was like the breaking point. Of like, whoa, it doesn't matter where I am, like this is still gonna happen to me. So
no, that's actually so real. I think like literally there is nothing in this world that we can control. So I think of a fear that comes from not having control can just be the biggest, largest thing.
The worst.
It could be like the biggest thing in your life when you think about it, because it will never stop. It's like things will just continue to pile on because it's like, oh, I don't control this. I don't control where I'm going to work. I don't control, you know, like it's kind of like there are so many things that you can even name that just keeps adding on. So I definitely feel like that, as far as it goes, that could be one of the worst kinds of anxiety, if that makes sense.
100%. And I think now that I'm thinking, I feel like we should have said at the beginning of this episode, like trigger warning for like anxiety.
Oh, for sure.
Also eating disorders, just in case.
But,
all of those types of things.
The big three.
The big three. Yeah. Trigger warning if you're experiencing those or if you don't want to hear anything about that. So yeah, super anxious during that time. Second year of college, depression hits.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I do think I was depressed at my first school, but now that I think back, the depression got worse.
Yeah.
It got worse.
Yeah. Worse.
Depression hits, anxiety is worsening as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting into, like, around that time, when we talk about control, eating disorders start coming in as well. Because this is around the time I'm like, which I didn't even know. Like, it's crazy, y'all. If you don't, like, look things up, you have no clue that, like, other people are going through the same thing. But, like, I didn't even know what to call it. There were foods that I just didn't let myself eat. Because if I ate this food, like, I was going to die. Something like that.
Right.
But then I realized that it's not, and there's, like, a specific name for it within, like, the eating disorder categories.
Isn't it
like
OCD?
No. I said we're specific for the eating disorder categories. There's, like, the people, like, you have safe foods, and then you have foods that are not safe. Which for some people, it could be like they can't eat Skittles. And other people, it's like you can't eat. For me, it was like any kind of meat, like no. Which you can see what it was doing to my body because I was losing crazy amount of weight.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I'm not eating chicken, not eating those things because it's like, no. Like, that's just, it's not a safe food for me.
Yeah.
Which you could see where my mental state was at that time. Mental state ruined all that stuff. That was like the peak, like the height of my depression.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like three things working at the same time, anxiety. And then I start getting like travel anxiety, y'all, or like, I thought that it was like agoraphobia, which was like close. If you can say it was, who knows? Maybe a doctor will watch this and will tell me in the comments what was going on. But it's like, I could not get on public transportation. And I know you remember that time. It was like no space where there's like a lot of people gathered and there's not like an accessible, easy exit. That was like absolutely not.
Right.
So like planes, trains, automobiles.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of those. And then it's like just super crowded places in general. No, I have to be able to see the exits because if anything happens and not like, oh, a shooting, just anything. If I start feeling a little sick, if I'm just like, oh, I have a headache or something. Because at that time, every single thing felt like the end of the world. It's like, I have a headache because I'm about to die. Like, oh, is it an aneurysm? Like crazy anxious thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to be able to get out of here. And like, I didn't want to have a panic attack. And there's like loads of people around me that can see me having a panic attack. So then that was another thing. It was like a fear of having a panic attack that would trigger the panic attack.
Yeah.
Like, it's just those types of things. It was hard, y'all. Because I lived like, you know, we were a good 30 minutes away from my school, 30 minutes to an hour, honestly. So I would take the bus to school or the train to school. And it's like, I'm on that bus for 30 minutes and I'm freaking out. you know, like,
No, I definitely remember this time. It was definitely like the hardest time for you, at least from the outside.
So bad.
I couldn't believe it. I had never seen anything like that before. And not even to like make it seem like it was bigger than what it is, but more so like, I had not had any experience with anxiety at that level. Like at the level of like regular fear of like someone's just like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like even though some people like seriously, like our mom is afraid of spiders.
Yeah.
The way that she transforms when there's a spider around.
It's crazy.
It's like she is truly like petrified. Like it is like, you know, those types of fears. I'm like, okay, people do get really scared about one or two things.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was my first time witnessing like, it felt like everything.
It's just like living in fear.
It's living in fear.
It's crazy because when we're like you're younger, you see those specials of those people who are like have agoraphobia and they don't leave the house.
Yeah.
And you're like, how are you afraid of every single thing?
Yes.
They're like, I can't go outside because of the birds. And I also can't go outside because if I trip on the sidewalk and da-da-da type thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, I was literally living like that. I was in my room and I was like, I'm not stepping foot outside.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, this tree branch might fall on me. But it was like, anything. It was the feeling of like when I'm outside, I'm having a terrible time because I'm constantly on the verge of like having a breakdown.
Right.
So like it was more so like the fear of the feelings that I get when I'm outside.
And actually that's like so valid. I'm so glad you said that because I feel like that is so valid.
Yeah, it was like if you've ever had an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you know how terrible it feels. And it's like the last thing I'm about to do is like subject myself to that.
To feeling that way.
Like if I can avoid feeling that way, then. And I was still having anxiety attacks in the house, which is what's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm in my comfort.
Yeah.
I can calm down.
And that's the difference between us.
Yeah.
Like when I started experiencing anxiety, I'll get into the details of that later, but
Yeah.
I feel like for me, having anxiety knows no bounds in the sense of like in my home, it's just as bad as if I was having it outside. I literally get such an overwhelming sense of panic that it doesn't matter where I am. In fact, like if I'm alone, sometimes it goes hand in hand because I do think a lot of people with anxiety, they don't want to be seen having that.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a level of shame that comes with it and like stigma of where, I am being weird right now.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think that that is like compounded on the outside. But I feel like when I'm in my home and I start having like a panic attack, I literally just feel like I'm going to die and I'm going to do it by myself. I feel like for me, it's even more so like I have no one to ask for help. And so I don't, to this day, I think like you're on such a great journey and I feel like you've gotten a lot of answers. I'm in between therapists right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's so many things that I still don't fully have the answer to. So I feel like when I do start to feel a little panicky, like a little racy, it's hard for me to trace the source of why I'm feeling that way. So I think even more so that in itself, I think if I knew why I had panic attacks, I would be better. Because my whole thing has always been the unknown. And it's not just like, okay, if I go outside, a crane could fall down and hit me and I'm going to die. I don't have that sense of like irrational fears because I calculate everything. So I know for a fact that's just not going to happen to me because the numbers say that that won't happen. But I feel like for me, it's more of kind of like, okay, here's a list of things that could potentially happen. And your issue is that like, you don't know how to get through any of them. If it was a case where it's like, a crane's falling and I could just move to the left. As soon as I know how to sort that issue out.
It's like if you can reason with yourself in your head, which like when I was in the thick of it, it's like that's what I would have to do. Because then like the anxiety goes away because you've made a point in your head of like, oh wait, this isn't gonna happen. You outsmart yourself. But it's like when you get to a point where you're trying to think something and then there's like no way to outsmart
nothing is coming
it's
up.
Like you're done.
You're done. But I think it's so interesting though, because like how we kind of said we switched, how I was more afraid of the external and you were more afraid of the internal. And then that kind of switched a bit. I think really my biggest fear is myself. I think it's literally being like conscious of the fact that I don't have the answers to everything.
And that's honestly, I don't know if you remember, but remember when I sent that post that was like, it was like this therapist, and she was on a podcast and she was talking about how she thinks that it's like a specific word for it. I'm sorry, y'all. I really wish, and maybe I'll put it in the description. She was talking about how a lot of people that have anxiety, it's really people who have built up anger that they haven't released yet. Remember when we talked about that? It was like so interesting because she was like, people like built up anger in a sense of like, you haven't let it out and you haven't stood up for yourself because a lot of fears come from not feeling in control. And one positive thing that anger does is that you regain your control or in your confidence and your ability to be there for yourself and to protect yourself and guard yourself, whatever it is you need to do, that you can do it. And so I thought that was so interesting because I feel like you definitely more than me, but I feel like we're both people who like try not to lead with anger and like try every other thing other than just being mad at a certain extent. And so then it comes to a point where it's like your body doesn't think that you can defend yourself. So then you get anxiety because you're in situations and you're like, what if this happens? And because your mind knows that if something out of your control happens, you're not going to be able to protect yourself.
And so that's like actually so, first of all, tore it up. Tore it up. She ate. That's really true. 100%. I've experienced all of that. And I feel like that goes along with, I think, at least the type of anxiety that I have had. I feel like I have always had a lot of shame that I kind of associate with anger, but not necessarily like my own shame, but like been kind of like I've been told to see anger that way. Looking at it in that light. I think we did grow up in a house with someone who was more dominant and more prone to being angry, but I wouldn't say like, oh, watching that person act out. It's not like I was like, oh, I feel shame for that person versus kind of like, I felt like I'm not allowed to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like more of if I like am angry, then I'm an angry person. You see, so like it ties back into labels for me, like not wanting to be seen as this type of person, but also simultaneously being able to see somebody else stand up for themselves. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, go off. Like that's really amazing. But I feel like for myself, it's kind of like holding these restrictions on myself kind of in hopes that it would make me like I'll come out of this some type of greater being. You
like
know what
justice.
I mean? No, like justice. Like I'm going to come out on top and I've done the right thing. I'm going to make it to the gates. God's going to tell me that I've done a good job. We're going to look back at my life and he's going to like see how you didn't get angry when that happened. You know, and I think it's also kind of like low key like ADD, but also a little bit of like OCD in my brain of just being very like, okay, don't be morally corrupt. Don't be morally corrupt. Like, I don't know why, but I think that always like stuck with me a lot harder. Yeah. And I don't want to just sit here and do the obvious thing that a lot of people do and like blame religion. I don't think it had anything to do with that. It's literally just more of like, honestly, the one thing that I felt like I could control was being a good person.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you said earlier. Yeah. Like growing up in the house too. Yeah. I think it was like when you grow up with an angry person, there are so many different routes that you can
There
take.
are so many different routes.
And I think, like you said, for you, it was like you don't want to be seen like that person. Yeah. And I think for me, I saw how like destructive anger was, and I felt like there was no use for that.
Like it was unnecessary.
It was like, it was just unnecessary. And so then it's like, no, this person might have overdone it crazy, but like all emotions
are valid.
But like in the sense of like all emotions are useful and you have to feel all emotions. Yeah. And I think that I just started seeing anger as like, there's never an excuse or never a valid reason to be angry. Right. Like you can just choose a different emotion. Right. But it's like sometimes you need to just express, you don't have to yell at someone, even if you're just mad and you just scream in your room. Yeah. Like, you have to let yourself feel that.
Oh my gosh. And it's like on that, like so seriously, like I literally, whether it was like relationships, like with friends and like with partners or whatever. Yeah. God, I was so bad. Like looking back, I was so like horrible at expressing when I was upset, you know, and not even to the sense of like being like a passive person, because definitely that comes with territory. Yeah. But I feel like just realizing that it would have been so much better for me to just say, okay, this hurt me. Because we're not even just talking about the type of anger that's like lashing out or like loud, but just hurt. Yeah. Because like hurt is like a form of like anger as well. You know what I mean? Like I feel like not even being able to like reconcile with the fact that this person just hurt my feelings. Yeah. And it's okay for me to be hurt by it. Yeah. It's like I would always try to find a way to get over everything. Yeah. I would cry. I mean, the worst cry that anyone done ever crowed. And then it would literally be like, I'm literally not like, I'm crying in my room, I'm having a breakdown. And then I get up and I'm like, wow, like, look at how we got over that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now it's time to move on.
Now it's time to move on. Yes. Like, look at how I just evolved as a woman. I'm a new woman. Yeah. And so I feel like that to me was the cycle of life. Yeah. That's how I decided to like live until I got to a certain point, a certain age where I feel like I just snapped. Which was like 2 years ago for me. Yeah. If we're doing timeline, I definitely feel like when I, so I lived in Georgia for, all my life. Yeah. But you went to school in Tennessee. Oh yeah. Yeah, I went to school. My first school was
still in Georgia.
Yeah, it was still in Georgia, and then my second school, it was just different parts of Georgia. Relocating to all over. Yeah, all over Georgia. I was definitely more of a stay closer to home person. Or honestly, I just didn't put a lot of thought into it. Yeah, it wasn't even that deep. But yeah, no, then I finally made my first big move, like about basically a year and a half ago, like almost 2 years.
Sweet. Basically 2 years.
I'll just say 2 years at this point. I had never had an anxiety attack in my life until this moment. I got my first big girl job, shout out, and I was on the plane. Now, mind you, there were a lot of things going on here. Yeah. This flight was probably at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had no food up until this point. Now, some of you get down like that. Yeah. Some of you don't eat. Some of you function on no energy, no food, no carbs, no nothing. Yeah. That's not me. I have been a person who always eats breakfast since I was like 2. I love breakfast. I love snacks. Like when I get on a flight, I have to have something to eat or I'm going to feel, well, I learned. Yeah. I almost passed out on the flight. And so it was, I think what happened was I almost passed out because I was hungry and I had not had any food.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started having a panic attack because I didn't know why I almost passed out.
Yeah, because you were like, why am I feeling like this? What's happening?
Oh, I was feeling crazy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even more so, I was going down.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's one thing I knew. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't feel sick prior to.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I had never experienced a panic like that in my life.
Yeah.
And it was to the point, like, I'm sitting here. We were all scattered, I feel like.
Yeah, we were on
'Cause-
the plane because our older sister was there.
Yes.
She was like in the front. I was in the middle. You were like,
I was in the back. Yeah. Because I was closer. I had to go to the back of the plane where they gave me snacks, put ice on my head, and gave me orange
Yeah, all
juice.
those things.
It was,
and I
it was
just
that
remember
serious.
because where I was sitting, the intercom was like, because at first the intercom was like, if there's a doctor on board, like, can you please come to the back? And I was thinking like, oh my gosh, what's happening in the back of the plane?
Yeah.
And then like 5 minutes later, they were like, they called our older sister's name and they're like, please come to the back. Because our sister is a doctor.
Yeah,
basically. At
yeah.
this point, she was in med school. Now she's graduating. But I was like, whoa, like she's going to have to like, whoever's
Do
I'm
some
thinking,
extreme, like, yeah.
someone's like having a seizure or like someone's bleeding out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is her first time like in the field type thing.
Yeah.
And then when we talked to her about it, she was thinking that same thing. Like, oh no, I'm going to
She was like, oh, please don't call anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's just me.
yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And so I was literally thinking like I was on death's door.
Yeah.
And it's like we're on a plane and we're coming up to this state and it was only like a 2-hour flight. So
Yeah.
thankfully like it wasn't that bad. Had
Yeah,
it been
yeah.
any more time, I think I would have collapsed. But yeah, it's just kind of like for all of you who have experienced anxiety, experiencing that for the first time.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I don't want to play like the comparing game, but I feel like it was worse as an adult because it just felt like I know all there is to know. I'm dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but that's always how it is. Like the
Yeah.
first time I had an anxiety attack, you couldn't tell me I wasn't having a heart attack.
You can't. It's
Like,
indistinguishable.
You truly
literally
couldn't tell me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not a
Yes.
child.
Yes.
I'm literally having a heart attack.
I'm an adult. I went to school.
Yeah.
This is the description of a heart attack.
What? This is
Yes.
what's happening.
My
to
heart
me.
is beating out of my chest.
Yeah.
Like
And it's
I'm
like you
sweating.
just-
I'm getting fatigued.
Yeah.
I can't see straight. I'm going down. And so that's the only thing that was going on in my head. And then I'm shaking like really, 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 really bad.
Crazy bad.
And so I don't think I was sitting next to someone, or maybe there was an empty seat because I know that Lauren ended up coming and sitting next to me, I think,
Yeah.
when we were, when I was able to go back to my seat and like regained my consciousness. And one of the biggest things was we chalked it up to the fact that I had not had anything to eat.
Yeah.
So they gave me snacks, they gave me like, whatever. But then I started to realize like, I'm like doing like this. And then that's when it finally kicked in that this is anxiety
Yeah.
at that point, because I knew I was scared of what just happened. And I wish I could say that that was the last time that I experienced that. I don't know what it is mentally, but that was 2 years. I have spent the last 2 years, y'all, fighting for my life when it comes to getting on planes. I mean,
And it's crazy because it's like that was happening to me for so long, and it's like we just switched.
Yeah.
like it's like now I'm on planes. Like I come and visit you.
Yeah.
I mean we film this once.
Yeah.
I fly up here to come film.
yeah,
and nothing.
nothing.
It's like I'm on a plane and I'm knocked out, or I'm reading my book. Like absolutely no feeling whatsoever. I'm still not a fan of buses, but I'll get on one, I guess.
Right.
I love the train.
Yeah,
love the train down.
She's
love
alright.
the metro. You know, like it's crazy. It's kind of like I know exactly how you're feeling. Like getting on a plane and being like, this is it. This is the end.
Oh my gosh, in that echo chamber.
In that echo chamber, and you feel like you're about to lose it.
And it's so bad because guys, I have traveled so much the past couple of years because of my job. It requires me to travel at minimum 3 times a year.
Yeah.
But I've done more than that, unfortunately. Fortunately.
Yeah.
You know, we love that.
Beautiful.
I'm trying to do a little spin on things. But yeah, I have to travel so much. And it's like with each one, I wouldn't say that it necessarily got worse, the anxiety, but I will say it's just still that
Like it's
feeling.
difficult each time.
It's difficult. Even the night before, knowing, oh my gosh, here she goes again. And then that also kind of feeling like I don't know why I'm having this on planes.
Yeah.
We've traveled before in life. Why is it just randomly I feel so scared? And I know what y'all are thinking. It has nothing to do with the plane going down.
That's what it is.
Nothing to do
So
with the plane
crazy
going
because
down.
people have like flight anxiety because they feel like the plane's about to go down.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not even a single one.
I'm not thinking about that.
No.
If it goes down, it goes down. I'm not thinking about
I
us
just
dying
want
on
to
this plane.
to me, mine is even closer to claustrophobia than like
Yes.
death
100%. It is.
It's like, I need to get off this
I need
plane.
space.
I need space.
I need space.
And I need fresh air.
Yeah,
I think it's that feeling.
Yeah, I'm like, get up off me.
Everybody get away from me. And also open these windows up.
Yeah.
And like, I need to stretch out.
Yeah.
What?
I think it's that uncomfortable feeling of definitely feeling like claustrophobic.
Like closed in.
You feel like someone just locked a door.
Yeah.
And also, I think to me, interestingly enough, it's like I willingly submitted to this.
Yes.
I think that made me feel worse. It wasn't like just like a random moment where it's like, okay, we have to get an Uber and go here. Mind you, I also did start to develop a little bit of anxiety from like other transportation. I did start to feel that way a little bit, like when it came to like getting at Ubers or when it came to like getting on the metro. But it was never as bad as like a plane. It would feel like, why would I set myself up to be locked on something that I cannot get off once they close the gate?
Yeah.
Like I knew that like, okay, if you do feel scared on this flight, there is nothing you could do about it for the next so-and-so amount of hours. And it's that thing, it's anticipating the fear. Yeah. Literally, it's anticipating the fear and then the acknowledgement of there's nothing you can do about it if something happens. That combination is so lethal.
It is.
And it took everything out of me. I still sometimes have my ups and downs, but it took everything I had to get over flying anxiety. I also want to like say, realizing that sometimes a lot of anxiety can come with like a deep feeling of not wanting to do something.
Yeah, because I feel like after you start feeling that feeling of fear, you know what that feeling feels like, and you know that you're gonna feel it. It's like,
oh, there's an app.
Yeah, it's like the thought the night before you're not having a panic attack. You're stressed because you're feeling like, I really don't want to do that thing. It's like amplifying it even more. It's like the only thing you can think leading up to the thing is like, I know I'm going to feel like I'm in a frenzy when that moment comes. And that's like the last thing I want to feel. So then like the closer you get, it's not only like the fear of getting on the plane, but the fear of feeling the feeling you're going to feel when you get on the plane.
Yes.
Like all 100%. Of that. It was just, it's such a crazy time.
And not trusting yourself.
To
be able to get
advocate
over.
for yourself.
Yes.
Not only get over, but even if you do start freaking out, to be able to advocate for yourself.
And you know what's so crazy? I think it's like, oh my gosh, grace. Yeah. Grace and positivity is so important to have if you are trying to conquer your anxiety, because I didn't realize how many negative like thoughts I had on this topic until I started experiencing it, and then did not have grace for myself.
No, but that's exactly what it is. Okay. As someone who went through this for so long, this is like a 6-year period. This was from, what's 7 + 6? Oh, I'm 23 now. This is like a 5-year period from 17 to 22. Because I'm 23 now, and I feel like I've been good this past year.
You've been great, actually.
Yeah, period. Thank you. So the way that people be on social media and just in life thinking that they're like so sympathetic to like people who are dealing with mental health issues, and then as soon as someone around them that they know has a mental health issue, they're like, get over it. It's crazy. It's actually insane. Despite what you want to see on social media, I would say that it still is quite normal to shame people that are dealing with mental health issues, especially when it's stuff like just in like anxiety.
Yeah, no, it's like they're like, no, I'm so like mental health coded, I'm so aware, and then someone around them stutters, and they're like, get this weirdo away from
they're
me.
like you're like, oh, like my heart goes out, and then like your friend is having like an anxiety attack in your car, and you're like, what's going on? Like, we're just going to the mall. Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
It's not that serious.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. And then you're like, oh. And then they have like God forbid, but I have seen it in my lifetime, y'all, with family members. All that stuff I was going through, and it's like, oh, like, just get over it. And then they have an anxiety attack for the first time, and it's like, call the ambulance.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's so crazy. And it's like,
you see how you've had to eat those words?
You see how
does it taste?
Words. But it's like, I don't even feel that way because it's like, I know that
because it's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's like, wow,
it's like,
God help us all.
God help us all. But it's like, wow, like it was more so confirmation to me of like, oh, I wasn't being crazy.
Yeah.
This actually is the worst thing ever. And now everyone's seeing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that was majority of my college experience. It's just, and then like you said, just the shame of feeling like I'm a freaking weirdo because I'm in class having an anxiety attack and everyone else is able to be normal.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're talking to people and you're stuttering or you can't make eye contact and people are looking at you like,
yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's just like that.
But also like the way that you think that you're being perceived just adds on to everything that's happening.
Oh my gosh, yes, because like obviously when you're depressed, for most people, I feel like this just comes with depression, your self-esteem like plummets like tanks, like goes crazy down. So it's like any interaction you have with someone, that person is not thinking about you, but you're thinking like, wow, this person hates me, or like, this person thinks I'm so weird.
Yeah.
You know, all of those things, it's like on a loop.
And also like, I hate to say it because it sounds like very like, I don't know, like overly, I don't like to be one of those people that's like, you need to do it yourself. Like, you know, do it yourself by yourself. Like, I don't like to sound like those people, but I do feel like when the way that you think someone is perceiving you, it's like the way that you are actually making that thing happen in real time.
You're making it happen.
Crazy.
It's like you're literally thinking that you're weird, and then that gives off the vibe to the other
being weird.
Like
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely like that because it's like people will be being so nice, and then like the moment I'm thinking like, wait, am I being weird? Am I being weird? Then it's like that person's
no, because now you're sitting there thinking you've taken like 30 seconds to respond, and now it's actually
weird. Now it's awkward.
Now
you know,
it's
and it's
awkward.
like,
it's like that like fulfilling prophecy, whatever.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
It's like if you sit there and tell yourself like I'm a weirdo who's never gonna have any friends, like the way that that's going to happen,
it's gonna happen.
But it's also like, don't you understand that a part of you is actually wanting that by saying it?
Yeah.
Like I think that like you should not be like saying things out loud that you don't actually want to happen.
You don't want to happen.
It's not.
It's like you're creating this whole world. You're creating this entire identity,
and then
you're
you're
now
seeing
stepping
it
into.
Exactly. You're like, I'm going to see this through.
Yeah.
The bad part of yourself is literally like, well, let's make it happen.
I guess.
No, it's so bad. But back to like grace and like, you know, being kind to oneself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because I've always felt like. I never felt like I saw people in a negative light. I never felt like I was judgmental to people's like circumstances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that much. I just didn't see myself as one of those people. Mm-hmm. And then I started like being so negative to myself. And it's kind of like that thing. Like I always say like the what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Mm-hmm. I still don't have the answer to this. But I feel like I can't tell if the way that I speak to myself has more to do with how I viewed other people, or if the way that I now view people is the way that I view myself.
I think everything always comes from inside. Like people who judge other people are like most critical.
They're most critical of themselves.
It's like the way, if you are critical of yourself, or like even those people, I feel like those people who are constantly commenting on other people's bodies, it's because like that's what they hold to be true with themselves. As well.
Yes.
I think that when you have grace for yourself and when you have love for yourself, you can have that thing for others.
To extend it to other people.
I think that's why like a lot of people disagree like with the statement like you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else. But I just think it's true.
It is
I
true.
think that you can only know other people as much as you know yourself.
As you know yourself.
And I think that when you have a deep love for yourself and like a deep knowing of yourself, then you can deeply know, love, and understand somebody else.
You can only give what you have.
What you already have.
You cannot give something that doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist within you.
Within you already.
So if you don't have
love for yourself,
it is
literally
like,
impossible to give love to somebody else.
No. And then
also, you don't know what that is.
Even more to accept love. I think that's another thing. Like you can't have a loving relationship while you hate yourself because you're not letting that person in. Yeah. People who dislike themselves, like for example, if you're insecure about your body, you can't let that person, quote unquote, show love to your body. Yeah. Because you're insecure about it.
And you've already decided that that's something that's not possible.
That's something that's, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like this person's complimenting you like, wow, like you look so good. And you're like.
And like, if someone like complimenting you, causes you to be angry, that's a sign that you have to check yourself. That's a sign
if it's triggering for you. Because I was so strongly one of those people. I was one of those people like, don't lie to me, you freaking liar. Like, seriously, I hated when I felt like people were lying to me or like overcompensating. And I didn't even think I was insecure. I was just feeling like, how could you?
Like you're doing a lot.
Like you're just
like
doing
you don't
too
really feel
much,
that way.
you know, like, you know, and I felt like everyone was love bombing me. But then I realized, oh, these people are just giving me compliments and I'm insecure. And yeah.
And I mean, that's that.
That was that.
That's really that. I think like for myself, like ever since I started experiencing anxiety, sorry guys, I can't talk today. I feel like I've noticed that my attitude has changed and the way that I view other people has gotten so negative, and to a point where like I don't even feel like I recognize myself as far as like the way that I view things. In the sense of like, say like previously, like younger you loves these types of people. You know what I mean? But then you get older and you're like, oh, I hate extroverts. And like that's something that I've noticed in myself. The areas that I was more like open or like neutral, didn't matter. I feel like I've swung too far in a certain direction, and now I'm just kind of realizing like, oh, like if I'm, especially like if you find yourself being like angry or judgy towards people that you don't know, and when I say no, I mean I don't care if you know of them, you don't really know that person, so like you don't have the answer, right? I feel like
you can keep going.
I feel like if you find yourself being that way, then it's time to take a step back and like reflect and ask yourself like, where am I in my relationship with myself right now?
Yes.
Because there is no reason on earth a person that you don't know should be triggering you.
Yeah.
Especially not to anger.
Yes.
That is something that just makes no sense. It is a direct reflection of whatever you're feeling on the inside.
Yep.
And people act like it's not easy to hold up a mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And start to do a deeper look.
And just check yourself.
Just check yourself, but also like think about it. If you don't know a person and they're like something is really making you angry, don't you know that there has to be something familiar you're seeing? Do you know what I mean? Like
it's something that you know of.
That's why you know of. Like it's an itch that you're getting.
Hate is not the answer.
Love.
And that's just what I have to say. Like getting angry at people on the internet, it's never the answer.
It's never the answer. Oh my gosh. Like you won't find any like solace in that. Like
solace.
You won't find what you're looking for in tearing somebody down and like writing a mean comment and being a troll. Like you will wake up unhappy the next day. That's a guarantee. I promise you.
And it's because of what's inside of you.
It's something.
Did you think that this person is tormenting you specifically? And by the stuff that they post, it's like really the thing. They're doing this for you. They're doing this to ruin you. But you don't understand that you're already ruined on the inside. And that's why you're reacting in that way to their content. That's why you're looking at something that you know you hate. You're literally seeking it out. Crazy. You could just block that person.
You could always block that person, but you're addicted to being miserable.
Yeah.
You're addicted to just dreading every part of life.
And you have to get out of it.
You have to.
It's a vicious cycle, but you got to break free.
And also, no one's going to break you out of it. You just have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
No one is responsible for your misery. I think that is like...
And no one is responsible for your healing either, except for you.
It's like really so sad though. When you I mean, not really, but at the same time, like, don't think that I don't like understand some of the pity girls, or like I'm saying girls, but like some of the people that desperately wanted pity in their lives. Like I definitely understand that like horrible things have happened to you. Horrible things have happened to me. Horrible things have happened to you. Like we definitely are experiencing really bad things in life to even get to the point of having debilitating depression or anxiety. But it really is true. Like if you sit there waiting for someone to blame, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. If you sit there waiting for an apology, you could be waiting for the rest of your life. You are only responsible for healing you. That's just it. If you want to keep living, and hopefully you do, it's like you got to find a way out of it. You have to find a way to like have peace in whatever that looks like for you. Not even just like, I mean, you're listening to us, but not even just like other people giving you advice. You know what you're missing. You know what I mean? You know what you're lacking. You know what's keeping you up at night. How are you going to be able to grow from that and heal from that? I think that's so important.
This is so true. I think we should write a self-help book. I think that's what I'm feeling.
Are you feeling it?
I think that's what I'm feeling.
I think you would put that up.
The girls want to self-help.
I think the girls... Yeah, I think I'm hearing.
I think they said they want to self-help.
Yeah. They're chanting over there. I see you over there.
Yeah, no, they want that.
They want a self-help book.
Yeah.
I'll help with the visuals if you want to do a little something like that. Put a little something together. Yeah.
And people make like little self-help journals, but I don't know if that's my vibe. I don't know if I could do like every journal just has like a quote at the top of like, help yourself.
Hey, I mean, people really do love that.
They do love it though.
Yeah.
No, they eat it up.
I have
You
so
can tell
many.
if you go to Target.
No, that's what I'm saying. I have it. You have one?
Yeah, I have one.
I have two. I haven't like used them though. I want something that's actually useful.
Yeah, no, I haven't used one because I'm just like, I want to use it. I wanted to, when I bought it, I wasn't on my journey yet.
Okay.
But so I was like, I'm going to use this when I'm on my journey. But it's
always like that though. I feel like
Yeah.
it's always like that, which is why I don't want to make one like that. I'd rather just make one that you actually read.
Yeah.
Because I always do the whole thing of like, I'm going to write in this when my handwriting gets better. I'm going to write in this when I start to be a little bit better. But the whole point is to you start when you're down.
Yeah, when you're down. But yeah, guys, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, because I feel like we could go on and on and on.
We really could. But I don't know. I'm proud of us for our growth because literally, I feel like, I don't know. I just remember we were talking about like 20 minutes prior.
Yeah. Oh my God.
If you guys are wondering about my mental health now, not depressed anymore.
Nice.
Definitely, I would say out of all the things, I definitely don't have anxiety anymore.
That's
Which
amazing.
is beautiful.
That's so
like, I'm not even taking medication for anxiety.
Wow.
Literally stopped taking my anxiety medicine.
That's crazy.
And I'm living Claritin Clear. Like, period.
Oh my goodness.
No anxiety.
Yeah.
Working on the eating.
Okay.
Definitely not where I was before, where I was literally I lost 10 pounds in 1 month. Guys, I'm already like really skinny.
Yeah.
So that was like a crazy time.
Yeah.
And if you know me and you see me in person, like you're probably like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was bony, y'all. But as far as eating, I'm getting my weight back up. I'm trying to get back to the way I was when I was like in my late teens because I was bigger then. And yeah, I'm just so like, I'm just happy.
That's so beautiful.
I'm in such a better mindset. Like my mental is way better. The way I talk to myself.
Yeah.
I actually like myself again, which is crazy.
Wow.
Not mean to myself. Confidence is going up. I don't feel anxious around people anymore. I can talk to strangers. Like, it's a brand new day.
So you know what I have to say? You have to give people, like, at least give us a tip.
Praise the Lord.
Oh, praise be.
Okay, number one. Number one is literally like all thanks to God. Like,
Always.
Whatever religion you are, I feel like that helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Praying and things like that did help me.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude. I think gratitude helped me a lot. Not just obviously therapy. Like if you can afford therapy, go to therapy, get a therapist. But I do think that gratitude and journaling helped. And it's just like when it comes to gratitude and depression and how it beats that, you just have to look at everything you already have and just feel like, I'm so thankful for this. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
I might not have this or like this might suck, but like, look at what I do have. Look at the small things in my life that are making me happy, or the possibilities of something happening that could make me happy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for anxiety, you're always thinking about all the negative things that could happen, but you have to start thinking about like the positive experiences that have yet to happen and that could possibly happen in the future.
100%.
Because I used to be,
No, go ahead.
I used to be so depressed about not having any friends and not being able to make friends and feeling like people didn't like me. And then I had to kick in that hopefulness of like, there's always a chance to make friends.
Yeah.
My best friend could be right around the corner.
Yeah.
I could literally meet people that I click with 2 weeks from now, tomorrow. Like, it's like you literally never know. So instead of sitting and thinking like, oh, like this is terrible. Like I'm a loser. I have no friends. It's like the thought of like, I mean, I might not have close friends right now, but like they're going to come into my life at some point.
Right.
And that's that.
I think that's so beautiful. I think, I was definitely thinking about something and it's like running away from me. I was going to give, there we go. I feel like my biggest piece of advice, I'm definitely still in my journey. So I feel like I can't say too much, but I would say my biggest piece of advice is don't isolate yourself.
That is a huge one.
I would say that's my biggest
Everything gets worse when you isolate yourself. Every single thing gets worse when you are alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, It's literally, I can't always tell you what to do, but I can say what not to do.
What not to do.
And that's that.
Do not push people away.
No.
Do not isolate yourself. And that's in the smallest, like if you're someone who say has never had like a big group of friends, don't push your family away.
Don't push your family away.
Don't push like the small amount of people that you have in your life. If you have like a small amount, there has to be one that you have a good relationship with. Just to hang out with that person.
And you know what? I feel like you can even give yourself a little challenge because unlike my sisters, I was never extroverted. I definitely feel like I'm the introverted child. So it was never like me and 20 people. It was never going to give that. I don't think it ever will, even in my clearest state of mind.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm going to ever, you know what I mean? Like hang around with large groups and prefer that.
Yeah.
It's just not my tea. But I feel like a good challenge for yourself, if you feel like you're starting to get unwell, would be to do one thing that you were going to do alone with somebody else. If you've got 3 things to do today, do one thing with somebody else. And this is for if you do have people in your life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for me, when I started like isolating myself, I just was like, no, I just, everything. I found a way to do everything myself.
Yeah.
I found a way to make a self-sufficient like area without needing anybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of like, you can be a person if you are more introverted, that doesn't mind going to the movies by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not judging. You could be a person that doesn't mind going out to eat by themselves. Me, I can do anything by myself. So technically, I don't really mind. But it's like, instead of going to see that movie by yourself, hit somebody up and be like, hey, do you want to go see this with me?
Yeah. Ooh, I just thought of another piece of advice. Leave out the house every day.
That's so good.
Every single day, even if it's just for 10 minutes to walk around your block or to walk to the stop sign down the street and walk back.
Come on.
Exit out of your home every single day.
Literally get off of your phone, close your laptop, close out Instagram,
go outside,
and go to the grocery store in real time.
Yeah,
that's so important.
But also just go outside.
In any capacity.
Every single day.
In any capacity, anything that you were going to do online. Yeah. Because sometimes it's even shopping.
But it's not even like, it's good to do an activity because like, yes, because then you're occupied. Go to the grocery store, go buy some clothes, go fill your car up with gas. Right. If you're not going anywhere, do something like that. But even if you have nothing to do,
that's so true.
Leave out of the house.
Just leave out of the house.
Just leave out the house.
Just to show your face. And when I say show face, I mean literally to the atmosphere.
No, like to the sky, to the sun, to the
void,
to the tree.
Like see the sun today and have it see you.
It's
really just that simple. Step outside, say hi to the birds, the squirrels, whatever is near you.
Whatever's out there.
The flora and the fauna.
The stray cat. Literally.
Say hello
to the speed bump.
And then come back inside. Do a lap, actually.
That's what I said. Like walk around
people.
your block or like walk down to where you can't see your house anymore and then like walk back.
And I think it's just like there is something so healing in nature. There is something so rewarding
in moving your body.
Oh my gosh.
There's something so beautiful.
I think it kind of stops the whole decaying process.
Yes.
I feel like it's like being depressed and being anxious. Like you feel like you are rotting and then you also kind of get stuck. Like you have
like
physical
you're slowly
symptoms.
dying.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like you're already dead and you're just like there.
Yeah.
But it's like, that reminds you that you're still alive.
Being outside is proof of life.
It is literally proof of life. Like actually, and then it stops you from ruminating because if you're someone who was like sitting in a house thinking about the same thing, then it's like when you're outside, you can try to sit and think about, oh, I hate this. And then like, not, well, I hate this, but you can think like, oh, this is going to happen, da-da-da. And then like a fly hits you in the face and you have to focus.
Yeah. And now like, you have to lock in.
Yes. It's like when you're outside, you kind of have no choice but to be present versus when you're inside, you can be miles and miles away.
Oh my gosh.
But like when you're outside, especially in the spring and summer, it's like you're trying to think and then like something loud passes by. You're trying to think and then like,
life is calling you outside.
Yeah,
it really
it's
is.
Like you have to be there.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah, especially in the spring, especially in the summer. There is just proof of life everywhere. Yes, and it's inspiring and it's healing and it's like, it's everything that a person needs to. I feel like keep going on their journey. Yeah. And I feel like we have so much on anxiety, and I feel like
we can do like a part 2.
100%. I mean, or at least talk about depression. Yeah, because I feel like that in itself is an extra beast. Yeah, and I feel like we created this podcast with the hopes that we can like openly discuss these things.
Yeah, because we're like, we don't identify as anxious girlies now. But,
Yeah.
like, this was our experience. We were previously anxious.
Literally.
And to the point where we had thought about making a podcast for so long.
So long, guys.
And literally, we couldn't do it.
So many years in the making, but like that anxiety was eating at us, and we were like, we just can't do that. We can't show up every day and have to say something and show our face. Like,
what? I couldn't even get on a plane. We wouldn't be able to be in the same city because neither of us could fly each other. We wouldn't be able to fly.
So no, it's really like we've come such a long way.
Yeah.
But I do like at some point I would love to speak about like depression as well and how that's affected me. I think our situations were different as well because I was more of a high functioning depressed person.
Oh my gosh, guys, low functioning depression. What? I was in the bed for so long. I was getting like scars on me.
And that's on period. I feel like that's a whole thing. I was running on coffee and stress vibes until I realized that I thought I was going to collapse. So I think it's kind of like, then it's like, oh, wait, I'm depressed. So I don't know. It's definitely a whole thing. And I feel like sharing that with you guys at some point will be nice too.
Yeah. And I really also like in our next episode, I don't know, like it's not invasive. If you guys feel like commenting any questions about like things that we said of like, well, what about this? Or talk about this? Or I want to hear more about your experience with X, Y, and Z. Don't be scared or like DM us on Instagram because if there's like a specific topic you want to talk about, because I feel like I know for me when I was going through my troubles in college, I felt like nobody was making content talking about having a bad time in college. Everyone was like, I'm having the best time of my life. And I'm like, there's nobody for me to like communicate with. So yeah, if you're feeling that way or if you need someone to talk to, I'm here.
Yeah, definitely shoot a DM. We will always respond to our DMs unless you're on some creep stuff. Like, besides that, everything else, like
everything's open.
We will respond to in a timely manner.
Yeah, and so this concludes our episode for today.
This is all we have for you guys.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to watch other episodes if this is your first episode. And don't forget to like and comment.
Yes.
And we'll see you next Monday. Bye.